The Atlanta Falcons have to figure out this quarterback position. This is the biggest weakness with the Atlanta Falcons, and they are one quarterback away from being a legit contender in the NFC. Everyone is talking about Justin Fields. There's more options out there than just bringing in Justin Fields. They could trade up in the NFL draft, which seems like that's far-fetched because you have to talk to the Chicago Bears about trying to trade up to get the first overall pick. The Patriots need a brand new quarterback, and the Washington Commanders have high interest in drafting a quarterback as well. So the top three teams in the NFL draft, they're all looking for quarterbacks. The bad thing is with the Atlanta Falcons, you're 7-10. You're nowhere close or even in a situation to go up there and trade for a quarterback. Over the last couple of years, the Atlanta Falcons have passed on drafting a quarterback. They went with guys like Kyle Pitts. They went with guys like Bijan Robinson. They also went with guys like Drake London. They have been going in and filling up those skill positions. But skill positions don't matter if you do not have the right quarterback with your team. And that's one thing that has been shown with the Atlanta Falcons over the last couple of years. 7-10 in the last 3 years. Matt Ryan was the last consistent quarterback with this team. And Matt Ryan was not that great his last year with the Atlanta Falcons, but he was the best out of Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, and Taylor Heineke. But you shipped off Matt Ryan to the Indianapolis Colts, and he looked terrible with the Indianapolis Colts. That was a good trade for the Atlanta Falcons, but you haven't figured out that quarterback spot. You went with Marcus Mariota. You went 7-10, but Marcus Mariota was not a good quarterback with the Atlanta Falcons, and that was an Arthur Smith guy. Arthur Smith went out there. He's supposed to develop Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder was terrible with the Atlanta Falcons this season. He had 12 passing touchdowns to 12 interceptions, and he had 6 fumbles on the season as well. That's 18 total turnovers. 18. That's not good production for a starting quarterback in the NFL. And he didn't even start for the entire season because you also had Taylor Heineke come in for a couple games. He had 5 passing touchdowns and 4 interceptions. You have to figure out that spot. A couple weeks ago, I said, go talk to Russell Wilson when he gets cut from the Denver Broncos. The reason why I think that could be a good move for Russell Wilson and the Atlanta Falcons, he doesn't have to do much with this team. He could be a game manager with the Atlanta Falcons. That's all the Atlanta Falcons need. They have a very good defense. They need to bring in another pass rush as well. When I talk about the defense, I'll get more into that. But your defense was very good this season. You have the running backs that Russell Wilson can work off of in Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier just a year ago had over 1,000 yards rushing. This season, his numbers did tail down because he was splitting the load with Bijan Robinson. And Bijan Robinson is a generational talent at that running back spot. The one thing is with Bijan Robinson, he was not being used effectively enough with Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith was just a terrible head coach overall with this Atlanta Falcons team. But you bring in a guy like Russell Wilson, he's not going to cost a lot of money because he's going to still get paid by the Denver Broncos regardless. So you can sign him to a veteran minimum, and you can make some more moves in free agency as well. The one thing with Russell Wilson that may bother a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans, they'll say, man, he's just washed up. He's not good enough. But he's better than Desmond Ridder, and he's better than Taylor Heineke. He could come in that division right now, and he could be the best quarterback in that division. I think you can give Baker Mayfield a lot of problems with your team. This team went out and they beat every single team in this division. You beat the New Orleans Saints. You went out, you beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's with bad quarterback play. The way they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was great fashion. Kyle Pitts basically took a slant route straight into the field goal range. Kicker comes in, kicks a field goal. They win the game by 3 points. Amazing victory for the Atlanta Falcons. They would have not been in that situation if Desmond Ridder did not have 3 fumbles in that game. They had that game in their hands. Desmond Ridder just continued to turn the football over. The same thing when you look at what happened against the Minnesota Vikings. They had that game won. It was the turnovers by the quarterback that hurt them in that game. The defense is very good enough to get them over the hump. And bringing in Raheem Morris to be your head coach, I think that's a very good move for the Atlanta Falcons. We'll see how that pans out. But you have to go out there and get the right quarterback with this team. So Russell Wilson should be on top of that list. Justin Fields, of course. You're going to have to talk to the Chicago Bears regardless. So you should talk about him with 2 things. Try to go up and try to get the first overall pick. If the Chicago Bears want to continue to build around Justin Fields, you can give up a lot of draft capital. That's the one thing. If the Chicago Bears want to keep Justin Fields and you talk to the Chicago Bears about getting the first overall pick, you're going to be giving up a lot of draft capital. Look at what the Carolina Panthers gave up last season, a team that's in this division. And you see how they look right now with that trade. But the one thing with the Atlanta Falcons, they have so many good skill position players. You can put a Caleb Williams on this roster and he can be a star straight out the gate. if he could reach that full potential early on, because you have Kyle Pitts, you have Drake London, you have Bijan Robinson, you have Jonnu Smith, if he wants to stick around, who's a very good playmaking tight end this season with this team. You can bring back Cordell Patterson as well, which seems iffy at this point because Bijan Robinson basically took all the snaps from Cordell Patterson this season. Cordell Patterson did have some good moments here and there, but he's dealt with injuries in the past. But a young quarterback can succeed with this team. And I'm not talking about going out there and drafting a guy like Michael Penix Jr. or J.J. McCarthy. They're not ready to play in the NFL just yet, in my opinion, for the Falcons. That's not good enough. So you're going to have to talk to the Chicago Bears regardless, try to get the first overall pick to go get Caleb Williams. And if that's far-fetched, which seems like it is, talk to them about Justin Fields and say, hey, bring him here. He can be our guy. He's from the Georgia area. He fits what we want. He's a rushing quarterback. That's the one thing. He's one of the best running quarterbacks in the NFL. That read option with him, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, the play action with the Falcons would be very good. And he's behind a very solid offensive line as well. The offensive line was very good in the back half of the season. At certain points in time in the season, you can say that the offensive line was not good enough. Desmond Ridder held onto the football for a very long time. When they beat the Green Bay Packers this year, Desmond Ridder did not play good in that game. But the defense did go out there. They did the things with Jordan Love, and they played good early on. They ran the football. So the offense is set. All they need is a quarterback position. Sadly, it's easier said than done. And it brings me over to the head coach, Raheem Morris. Now, Raheem Morris did a lot of good things with the Los Angeles Rams. He was a very good defensive coordinator with that team. Is he good enough to be a head coach in the NFL? He was the head coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2009 through 2011. He wasn't good enough. And there was a lot of weird things that went out of his hands. He was too young, in my opinion. And he was a failure with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But he came back to the Atlanta Falcons in 2015. That's when he first came to the team, He was an assistant head coach, defensive backs coach, defensive pass game coordinator in 2015. But from 2016 to 2019, something very interesting happened. He was assistant head coach once again, wide receivers coach, offensive pass game coordinator. For the first time in his career, he went to the offensive side of the ball. This is a guy that specializes in defense, but he was on the offensive side coaching very well. And coaches gave him high remark for the work that he was able to do in 2016 from 2019 with the Atlanta Falcons. In 2020, he was a defensive play caller. And he was also the interim head coach as well. And he went over to the Los Angeles Rams and became a top defensive coordinator in the NFL with that team. And now he's the head coach with the Atlanta Falcons. He's bringing over Zach Robinson, who was a very good offensive play caller with the Los Angeles Rams. He comes from that Sean McVay tree. He's going to run some plays similar to how Coach LaFleur runs those plays in Green Bay. He's going to run the football a lot to set up the pass. It's a quarterback-friendly system. You can still go out there and try to develop Desmond Ridder on the bench, but you have to go out there and make sure the offense is set. And the reason why I bring up Raheem Morris, you have to be better than Arthur Smith. You have to be better than Dan Quinn. And Dan Quinn got this team to the Super Bowl. He got this franchise to the Super Bowl. I don't know if Raheem Morris can do that, but you look at the defense that they already have. You were 21st in passing offense, 9th in rushing offense. Offense is a major problem. Why do I bring it up when I'm talking about defense right now? Their defense was 11th in total defense and 8th in passing defense. Usually when your offense is turning the football over, your defense takes a hit. That wasn't the case last season. And they did that without a consistent pass rusher. Yes, Bud Dupree made some big plays with this team. Same with David Onyemata. Same with Calais Campbell. But those are not franchise pass rushers. This team has not had a consistent franchise pass rusher since Vic Beasley. And Vic Beasley faded out very quickly in the NFL. The ideal fit for the Atlanta Falcons is to go out there, draft a quarterback if need be. But in the first round, you can also look for a pass rush as well to go back there and take the quarterback down. When the pass rush is not able to hit home, it hurt them. Look at what Kyler Murray did to them in his first game back this season. He single-handedly got them over the top. If you had a guy that can go back there and take down Kyler Murray and just put a lot of pressure on him, you would have possibly won that game. The defense played well enough in that game. They're just not able to go out there and take him down enough behind the line of scrimmage. You have to go out there and get that franchise pass rusher. I do understand that their pass rush was better this year than it was from last season. But the one thing is about this season, Grady Jarrett missed 8 games dealing with a torn ACL. He will be back next season. And he was their top pass rusher last season as well. So I think he can be a very good pass rusher moving forward. But you have to get a solid edge rusher that can come in and take over the game, stop the run, and go out there and sack the quarterback as well. The secondary is very good. I like Clark Phillips a lot. He's a very good cornerback with this team. AJ Terrell is a true #1 cornerback in the NFL, and Jesse Bates is one of the best safeties in the NFL this season. You can make the case that he was the best safety in the NFL this season. He was phenomenal. He had 6 interceptions on the season, 11 pass deflections, and 3 forced fumbles. That was a great move that they did in free agency to go get him. But the thing is, with the Atlanta Falcons, over the last couple of years, you have been able to get that quarterback position right. It's time to go out there, either get Justin Fields, talk to Russell Wilson, or trade up to go get a guy like Caleb Williams. You have to get the right quarterback with the Atlanta Falcons, because you look at the rest of the division, and this is no offense to the other franchises in this division. This is the weakest division in the NFL, by far. The New Orleans Saints are in a very weird spot right now. Derek Carr doesn't look that good. Their offense is going through a lot of lapses right now, and they're on the wrong side of 30 with most of those players. So they're going to be a rebuilding team in the next couple of years. The Carolina Panthers are a rebuilding team. They have Bryce Young. We'll see if they're able to turn things around. David Tepper is a terrible owner. We will see. Then you also look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Made the playoffs this season. Is Baker Mayfield a true franchise quarterback for that team? Mike Evans may not be with that team next season. So there's going to be a lot of turnaround with this division, with a lot of players in this division. But the biggest thing with the Falcons, you have those skill positions locked in. I think they have the best skill position group in this division compared to the Carolina Panthers, compared to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, compared to the New Orleans Saints, because Drake London is so explosive. He is so good. Kyle Pitts is so explosive. He is so good. Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. But it's time to get that quarterback spot figured out. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about the Atlanta Falcons right now? And which quarterback would you like to see this team go get? Would you want to see them go get Russell Wilson, a guy that you're not going to pay a lot of money to, and you're going to be able to save some draft capital, but he's a veteran quarterback and he's on the back end of his career? Or do you want to see this team go out there and trade a mid-round pick to go get a guy like a Justin Fields, and you have to pay him sooner than later? Or would you like to see this team trade up to get the first overall pick, which seems like it is unlikely? I am admitting that, but stranger things have happened. The Carolina Panthers were not in the running until the last month, and they did that last season with the Bears. Would you like to see this team trade up with the Chicago Bears and say, you know what, give us the first overall pick so we can go with Caleb Williams? But let me know in the comment section below, what would you do with this franchise? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.